What's up, entrepreneurs? Welcome back into my channel. Today's topic is going to be about Airbnb, the midterm rental game. What's going on in this industry? Should you still get in? Is it still profitable? It's a lot going on in the industry right now, and I want to talk to y'all about that. So let's get into it.
I believe in myself. I am in the right place at the right time all the time. My purpose is within me, and I am successful because I apply the knowledge that I receive. And I will tell you this, God does not expose you to something that is not possible for you.
All right, y'all. So there has been a lot of conversation around the Airbnb industry and where we are actually headed, right? There was an article that came out saying that the Rich Dad Poor Dad author stated that Airbnb is going to be the reason why the housing market crashes. And so there was a lot of conversation about this and, if it was true or if it's not. And I'm going to give y'all my opinion on that, right? So the housing market, Airbnb only has about 6-7 million properties listed on its platform completely. So I don't know the exact number. I am going to, after this video, look it up and I'm going to put it right here. But the actual number, the actual amount of properties that are available for Americans is not even a half of what's actually listed on Airbnb. I think Airbnb has, maybe 6 or 7 million properties on its platform compared to the amount of properties that are actually available in the United States of America. So the impact that it could have, even if maybe 50% of the properties that are listed on Airbnb come back on the housing market for rent or for purchase for ownership, it could make a big difference, but not, I don't think it's gonna solve the housing crisis of the shortage of housing in America just based on those numbers alone, right? But on the contrary, Airbnb is absolutely disrupting the housing market, in my opinion, right? A lot of people, including myself, right, during the pandemic, even before that, started getting hip to the minimal amount of regulations around Airbnb and the possible income that you could make from Airbnb was, astronomical. And since everybody started to get hip to this, including Airbnb, they've raised their fees and figured out how they can make more money because hosts were starting to, succeed and do really well. But then you have these big wigs that are coming in and buying up a bunch of properties just so they can then Airbnb, and they have 20, 30, hundreds, thousands of properties listed on Airbnb under just one company, and they are completely dominating, which is why a lot of small time owners or side hustlers who got into Airbnb over the pandemic got crushed because these big wigs just came in and just took over the whole platform and started to benefit in a way that we just could not compete. Now, for me personally, I started in the short-term rental industry 2 years ago. And as an entrepreneur, I've always had a very entrepreneurial mindset. And I always say, right, one income is too close to none. And most people have heard this quote. If you believe that, if one income is too close to none in your personal life, it has to also apply to your business. If you own a business and you run a business and you only have one source of income in that business, you are in trouble, right? Same thing goes for Airbnb. When I got into the industry, I'm like, if Airbnb crashes tomorrow and I get all these units, who's going to fill my units? Where am I going to get clients from? So I never got into this industry thinking that I was just going to make a ton of money and a killing on Airbnb alone, right? So I also got into the midterm rental game parallel at the same time that I got into the Airbnb industry. So I personally use Airbnb as a tool to help me between clients that I am hosting on a midterm basis. If you've never heard of what a midterm rental is, a midterm rental is essentially just like short-term rentals is basically, weekend vacationers, anywhere from 1 day to as much as 28 days is short term. Now, after 28 days, you start getting into 30, 45, 60-day stays, and they're staying, maybe you have somebody that's coming into town for a work assignment, a temporary work assignment, travel nurses, right? Flight attendants, things like that. That starts to get into the midterm rental industry, right? And then you have long term, which is the midterm is anywhere from 30 days up to a year. And then long term goes from a year forward. If you're a renter, then you're probably a long term renter. You sign a 12-month lease. Maybe you stay for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe more in that same unit. That is going to be your long term. So I've always tapped into the midterm rental game. Why? Because I work the 9 to 5, honey. I work full time. I'm not about to be trying to figure out how to manage several units with people coming in and out every 2, 3, 4 days. That is just too much for me to even think about. And I personally believe in, when I'm starting my business, if I'm starting a new business, I need to be in and do all of the dirty work so that when I start to scale and expand and I want to add more people to my team, I know exactly how to train them and what to do versus hiring people right off the bat and not having a clue what the heck is going on in my business, and I don't know how to tell someone else to run my business. So, I've always been in the midterm rental game, which is why my business is still thriving, even after the Airbnb regulations all over the country, even after, the housing crisis, everything that's going on, my business is still thriving because I've used all of these platforms as tools. I'm also networking. I'm also, landing contracts with other companies that are able to take my business to the next level where I'm not just depending on a single platform to make me money, right? So if you are considering getting into this housing market, right, this industry, whether it's short-term, midterm, long-term, there is still opportunity for you out there. It's not too late. You just need to be committed to the entire process. You need to understand that Airbnb is not a business. It is a platform where you go to list or rent out a property. It is not a business. I will say that Airbnb or the short-term rental is a industry. Airbnb is a platform in the short-term rental industry, but you don't do Airbnb, right? So understand that. Once you understand that, you are able to then look at your business through a different lens, right? This is not a side hustle. Let's get that clear. This is not a side hustle. But it is a way for you to help people with find solutions to their issues with housing, right? When they're traveling, they need housing. You are a housing solution for them. And so you're able to solve people's problems in this industry. And if you come into this industry with that mindset, number one, and number two, with the hospitality mindset, you'll be good to go. You will survive. You will be fine. But you also need to come in with the opportunity or with the idea that you need to scale. Don't just come in and get 1 unit and stop there, right? I have 9. I used to have 12. I sold 3. So definitely come in with the mindset of how can I take this business model and scale it? If you don't understand or you don't think that you could take this business model and scale it, then this industry is not for you. Okay, so that is my spiel. I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I wanted to give you guys my opinion on this industry and what's happening in this industry, and if you should or shouldn't get in, give you guys some things to think about. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment below if you have questions, comments, concerns, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.